Hello, all, and welcome. This is Ekta, founder of VantagePointShiftYourLife.com. I'm a success coach helping emerging entrepreneurs change their thinking so they can achieve the goals they choose to. And today, I feel privileged to introduce you to my guest, Nagui Bihelek. He is a behavior intelligence transformation expert and educator. He has over 40 years of experience in different roles, from entrepreneur to corporate manager, with a career that spans IBM, CSC Index, private and public sectors, corporate technical and management roles, Fortune 100 consulting, VP public companies, and multiple business startups. He started his business when he was 16 years old, and he is the founder of AcuMatch Behavior Intelligence Coaching. And we will be discussing more of it in this interview. Welcome, Nagi. I'm so
Thank you,
privileged to
Ekta.
invite you.
Wow, I haven't heard my resume spoken out perfectly like that. I'm flattered and thank you very much for having me. This is exciting.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your journey and always happy to work with fellow coaches and support the coaching community. So this is this is perfect.
So, would you please share your story and how you started this journey?
Wow. Okay. Well, you've told a little bit of the history, um, but for me, the journey it's very interesting because well, interesting for me, maybe not interesting for anybody else.
It is
um,
interesting. It is interesting.
it's sometimes we start down a career path because of our graduate education marks, but it's not necessarily our passion. So, I was good in all the maths and sciences, so I went down the engineering path, but I wanted to work with people.
Mhm.
Always human factor engineering, all these kinds of things. So my journey throughout my career was always management, consulting, working with teams, building companies, engaging teams. I've, since high school, I was always captain of the soccer team, volleyball team. I was competitive. So that whole journey, I think, brought me to a point in when we came to Canada where after helping a public company, I realized that my real passion was this coaching thing that, back in 2007, nobody knew what coaching really was, or
Yeah.
business coaching for that
Yes.
matter. So it was a new journey. It was very much connected with who I was, what I'd been doing, and all the people that I supported over the years, whether it's in consulting, leadership, and so on. And I'd written lots of material and research behavior, since just near graduation, when I started consulting and so forth. So long story short, in 2007, I started a coaching firm
Wow.
and here in Calgary, and I was fortunate to be successful very quickly. Okay,
Wow.
and that allowed me to then expand and build a team of coaches and grow it. And we became well known right through Western Canada as one of the most respected coaching firms in the region. The challenge, though, the problem we had to solve, right,
Yeah.
as we do in all coaching, is one of really getting results with clients. And we had great systems, great tools to work on the business. But what I noticed was the challenge wasn't the systems and the tools, it was the business owners doing what they need to do. Um,
Mhm. Yeah.
More importantly, the coaches knowing how to engage the clients, and the coaches actually being self-aware of how they are engaging different people.
Mhm.
Um, Sometimes we had lots of um, I, I don't like to use the word excuses, but in reality, that's what it is, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
uh, you know, coaches would come in and they just had a meeting with a prospect, and they come back and they say, "Oh, this person's not coachable," and I'm going, "What do you mean? They
Yeah.
just had a meeting with you. They were looking for a coach."
Yes. Yes.
So
Quite
what
agree.
did you do?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You probably hear this quite a lot.
Yes.
And so I wanted to eliminate that. I wanted to uh, not only get them to be more successful at getting clients, but get them more successful at keeping them and working with them through results. The
Hmm.
only reason a client will stay is if they are moving up the ladder of success.
Yeah.
So they need to get results, they need to see the
Hmm.
results, they need to do that. Um, and then something else happened, Nectar, and that is I started doing this deep dive analytical research, like I've done time and time again in other innovations where I have to do the research and, put on the scientist hat, if you like.
Hmm.
And I learned a lot through that. I engaged with some great leaders around the world who are experts in different areas from psychology to behavior to neuroscience. And I came to realize that we had an opportunity to create something that didn't exist. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, are you familiar with DISC, for instance? DISC personality profile. You know,
No. No.
Disk
Sorry.
is becoming the most popular tool out there, and we were using Disk, um, and it really opened people's eyes up to behavior and communication,
Hmm.
but it was just lacking that deep dive into the actual neural pathways of what's going on behind that.
Hmm.
So, long story short, we started out in '07, '08 doing recruiting with a new methodology that I
Hmm.
was testing. By '09, '11, we had developed AccuMatch and realized that it's got a whole bunch of applications that we hadn't thought of. We
Hmm.
were thinking we would use this for recruiting,
Hmm.
but what we realized was it's far more powerful in the hands of a coach.
True.
So we relaunched it. We went to a pilot in 2017. I sold my coaching firm, and I focused completely on
Hmm.
the launch of this after having spent a good 7 8 years
Wow.
building it and testing it and validating it and so
Hmm.
forth. So
Okay.
that's how it came to be. Today, the our vision, my vision, my wife's vision, we work together,
Hmm.
is to help people around the world. We need to work through coaches,
Yeah.
amazing coaches.
Yeah.
You know, I can only reach maximum 20 people a month if I'm doing one-on-one.
Yeah.
But when I work with a coaching community,
Hmm.
it allows us to reach thousands of people. Right?
Yeah. Basically,
So we
it's helping
retooled.
them to
Mm,
understand the coach's behavior. It's helping the coaches to understand their clients' behavior.
yeah, yeah, and
Okay.
themselves. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really a one, two, three.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Number one, they need to do their Acumatch map in order to understand their own behavior pattern, their own unconscious responses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then they once they become self-aware, they are better at understanding the map when they're looking at the map for other people, as opposed to judging and saying this is right, this is wrong. As
Yeah.
coaches, sometimes we do that, right?
Yes. Yes. Agree. Quite agree.
Yeah, yeah. So That's step two. And then step three is to make sure that all of that lines up with a behavior development
Mm,
program
mm,
for the client in order to client to advance their career, or be a better leader in
mm,
the world of leadership, executives and so forth, or a business owner. So the context has different
mm,
implications and applications.
mm.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Well,
sharing your
yeah.
story. It's quite inspirational and powerful. And congratulations again for shifting and launching your new venture where you put in so much of effort. So I would like to ask you, what is behavior intelligence?
Hmm. How do I describe behavior intelligence? The easiest way is this. Um, you and I are talking. I'm
Yes.
using body language, auditory, tonality. That all really fell under emotional intelligence in the context of, right, you and I are reading body language signals, tonalities, and all of these things. And when someone is emotionally intelligent, they pick up those cues. Okay.
Yes.
So
Mm,
that was really level one. Behavior intelligence dives into a different level of how somebody tackles their role, how somebody approaches their task, how are they triggered by others. So when we get into behavior intelligence, we get into, okay, as you and I are communicating, if you get upset suddenly, what was that trigger?
oh,
What
okay.
was the thing that triggered you to respond that way?
Mm,
Uh, and being able to map it allows us to really get into, okay, so one, when I'm interacting with other people, I can
mm,
only interact through behavior.
mm.
So becoming behavior intelligent about myself and others, that's got to be powerful, right? um,
Yes.
when I'm by myself doing a task, I need to do something. Even thinking about it is doing something. That's also a behavior,
Yes.
right?
And how well you're able to think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So what are my patterns? How did I
Yeah.
get them? Right?
Mm,
Uh, and then I guess there's another level, and that is the behavior that has judgments around it, like in leadership, we have expectations of our team.
mm.
These are observed behaviors. We have expectations of the culture. This is also an
Yes.
observable behavior. And so
Yes.
all the dynamics of the workplace,
Mm,
this is the level that, we do emotional intelligence,
mm,
but we also go to more a business,
mm.
workplace interaction and task orientation, which allows us to understand how the brain got there, right? Sorry, it's a
Okay.
long answer,
Yes,
but
the question is itself, a big question, which can be,
open-ended.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's, yeah. So thank you for answering that. I hope we will learn
pleasure.
something from that. And what is the unique work that you are helping with right now, and how is it helping coaches with their clients?
Hmm.
How can they use this tool?
I, I have to be careful because we have many new things coming
Yeah,
down the road. But
that's okay.
right now, the key thing is what we call our foundation training.
Mm,
Okay. And the foundation training is really taking what I just talked about and teaching that to coaches
mm,
without them having to have a degree in psychology, right? One of my best friends is a psychologist. My
mm,
daughter, yeah, has a master's in neuroscience. And when I did my study and research, and uh, I, I took it with a deliberate focus on how do we apply this information, as opposed to, in order to graduate, as a master in neuroscience or in psychology, you got to be able to name every part of the brain and the functions and all that.
Yeah.
No, right?
Agree. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to stay well away from that stuff. In fact, I still can't remember half that stuff because I focus my brain on how do we apply this? How do we apply
Yeah.
this in coaching, right?
Application. Yeah.
Yeah. So the foundation training, it's a 6 week initial program where they, learn all the different areas of the map. There's 49 different behaviors. We can't just do a accelerated dump on people.
Mm,
We've tried doing the 2 day thing, but the process of breaking it up is much more important to allow the brain time to assimilate the
mm,
information. And then, there's weekly support sessions. We run 3 of those each month, and we help them unpack
mm,
what they observe in the coaching, what they observe through the map, the challenges, the behaviors. We have a panel of amazing people, PhDs, MBAs, psychologists, and so forth, that support
mm,
a community of coaches that are doing this.
mm,
So the foundation training is focused on the map and the behaviors so that then behavior intelligence coaching becomes the layer above that. It's kind of like playing sports, right? If you're
mm.
going to learn to play ice hockey, well, first you need to learn to skate.
Yes.
You need to be able to handle the puck,
Yes. Mm,
and maneuver. And this takes just basic practice
mm.
before you even get to play a game. And,
Yes.
and, and we're doing the same thing here. The foundation training is that basic
Mm,
knowledge that is required. You don't need a degree. Everybody can do this. You
mm,
can learn so much about yourself and learn so much about other people.
mm,
And in coaching, behavior intelligence is about, there are two components in getting anything done. There is the doing the right thing and knowing what to do. And then there's you showing up inspired, on time, disciplined to actually do that well.
Okay.
Right?
It's knowing
Yeah.
and doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So we
Mm,
call it, who are you when
mm,
you're doing this task? And and the why question, why do you need to do this task, and should you do it at the best that you can, or should you just do it as a hobby? It's kind of like coaching.
mm.
Sometimes we have a lot of coaches that are doing coaching on the
Mm.
side.
Yes.
You know, that's a good place to start, but one day you have to wake up and say, this is who I am. This is what I
Mm,
want to do, and make that
mm.
commitment of
Yeah.
passion and conviction to
Mm.
become great. Right? Hmm.
Wow. That's quite
I do ramble
empowering.
on, and I'm sorry. I hope that was all useful.
It was, it was. Even in my experience, I face clients sometimes, like, when you are challenged, uh, that you feel that how can I really help this person who has sort
Mm,
of limiting beliefs holding the person back. So it will be really intelligent to understand the behavior of the clients, plus how are we attaching ourselves, like
yeah.
we do have our own limiting beliefs, like we are also developing as coaches. So diving deep into our behavior plus the client's behavior, and delinking the behavior that is messing up in between, is also, I feel, will solve this part,
Mm,
challenging part of the coaching. Like you said earlier, like people say that even before they, like after their first meeting, they will say, I don't want to have this client. So
yeah.
I totally have experienced this myself. So I agree,
Mm,
totally agree. So I truly agree with you, like
yeah.
it's
We all
quite
buy into
empowering.
that. it's such an
Yeah.
easy thing to say, I'm great, it must be them, right?
Yeah.
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 Um, but Ekta, you touched on something also that's important that I didn't talk about, and that is today it, it's left up to the coach to dig and explore and ask questions and go through a discovery session and all of these things in order to figure out even if someone has a blind spot or a limiting belief or whatever. Um, are they doing the right thing or the wrong thing? We accelerate that. Your
Mm.
first session with the client will expose more things than you could ever do in 6 months or a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
And that's the feedback that we've gotten
Mm-hmm.
consistently from the coaches. All of our certified coaches, there is a certification,
Okay.
they use Acumatch before they start any coaching with their clients. It defines what the goals and the parameters are for their coaching. We
Mm-hmm.
call it the behavior development plan, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, yeah, so someone has limiting beliefs, blind spots. We all have them. I
Mm.
still have some.
Same.
My wife
Same.
catches me.
Must be. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I have to remember that, I have my map on the wall behind the computer here. And,
Okay.
sometimes I have to look at it and go, oh, what am I doing? Oh, I'm doing that high
Yeah.
um, innovator behavior again. I need to come down and share more detail, more procedures with people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really powerful, even for me after having built it and worked with it for coming up to 12 years now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Truly agree with you. Studying and knowing about the behavior intelligence can reduce the gaps between a coach and a coachee. It was wonderful talking to you, Nagi, and
Yeah.
really, I'm really thankful. So because you've given me your precious time and for like it's very difficult to put all your experience in a short interview, but
Yes.
I
Thank you.
would definitely encourage all the people who will be watching this video to go and check out your website acumatchb.com. I'll be linking that
Yeah.
on the screen so all of them can go and see your work and how it is helping. Go and read the testimonials over there. So if you're interested, people who are watching can go to acumatchbi.com. Thanks again,
Thank you.
Nagi. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate and very thankful.
Thank you, Ekta. It's a pleasure meeting you and pleasure being here. You've asked me some questions, made me think about things I haven't thought about. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye.